Have you ever felt that instant, unexplainable attraction to someone? That magnetic pull that defies logic, yet feels incredibly powerful? Science suggests it might be something you can't consciously detect their immune system. Your body operates like a sophisticated biological algorithm, secretly evaluating potential partners based on immune genetics rather than appearances. Like a hidden matchmaking system running in the background of your consciousness, it's constantly scanning for compatible DNA. In this video, we're exploring the bizarre biological code that influences who you're attracted to and why your nose might be a better judge of compatibility than your eyes. The immune system's secret dating app. What if I told you your body is running a dating app without your permission? Right now, inside your cells, there's a sophisticated matchmaking system operating completely outside your awareness. This system isn't concerned with someone's career prospects or if they like the same movies as you. It's focused on something far more fundamental, their genetic code. At the center of this biological matchmaking service is a set of genes called the major histocompatibility complex, or MHC genes. These genes serve as the security guards of your body, with their primary function being immune protection. MHC genes create proteins that sit on the surface of your cells where they grab fragments of anything inside, including invading microbes, and display them on the cell's surface. Imagine these proteins holding up a microscopic sign with the captured fragment, almost like a wanted poster that announces, "Look what I found inside." When your immune system recognizes these displayed fragments as foreign, it immediately launches an attack. But scientists have discovered something unexpected about these immune system genes. They influence who you're attracted to. Your MHC gene protects you from disease while simultaneously playing matchmaker in your love life. Every person has their own unique set of MHC genes, creating a distinctive genetic fingerprint that differs from almost everyone else on the planet. This uniqueness serves dual purposes, fighting disease and creating a signal that others can detect. Your immune system functions like a superhero team where each member has specialized powers. Some MHC variants excel at battling bacteria, while others target viruses or fungal infections. The more diverse your superhero lineup, the more comprehensive your protection against various pathogens becomes. You can visualize this as different colored proteins on your cell surfaces, each designed to catch and display different types of invaders. Evolution has leveraged this diversity cleverly. When two people with different MHC genes have children, those children inherit a more diverse set of immune system genes, essentially creating a more powerful defense team. Their immune systems can recognize and fight a wider range of disease-causing organisms than either parent could alone, giving them a survival advantage. This explains why your body might push you toward partners with MHC genes different from your own. By encouraging you to mate with someone who has a different immune toolkit, your genes are attempting to create children with superior disease resistance. It's nature's strategy for ensuring the next generation has the best chance of surviving in a world full of constantly evolving pathogens. But this raises an important question. How does your body assess someone else's MHC genes? You can't see genes, and you certainly don't carry genetic testing equipment on dates. Yet somehow, your body gathers this information without your conscious awareness. This puzzle intrigued scientists for years. If we're unconsciously selecting partners based on immune system compatibility, there must be some mechanism for detecting these invisible genetic signals. Researchers investigated all our senses, touch, taste, sight, hearing, and smell to determine how we might perceive genetic information from potential partners. After numerous studies, they discovered a surprisingly straightforward answer. We can smell genetic compatibility. Your nose knows far more than you might think. Deep in your nasal cavity are specialized receptors that can detect airborne chemical signals, including those related to MHC genes. Each person's MHC profile influences their body odor in subtle ways. These aren't obvious smells like sweat or perfume, but underlying chemical signatures that operate below conscious detection. When you encounter someone with MHC genes different from yours, their natural scent often registers as more pleasant and attractive to you. Conversely, people with similar MHC genes might smell less appealing. This creates a gentle biological nudge towards certain people and away from others. The fascinating aspect is that this process happens without conscious effort. You don't actively smell someone and think, their MHC genes complement mine perfectly. Instead, you might experience an inexplicable attraction you attribute to chemistry or personality, never realizing your nose is guiding your preferences. This system likely evolved before humans developed language or complex social structures. When our ancestors encountered potential mates, this olfactory mechanism provided valuable information about genetic compatibility that couldn't be assessed through other means, an elegant solution to finding a mate who would help produce genetically robust offspring. In our modern world of dating apps and social media, this ancient biological system still operates beneath our conscious decision-making. While you evaluate someone's profile picture or read about their interests, your body might be waiting for that in-person meeting to gather the genetic information it considers important. There's something both humbling and fascinating about recognizing that our sophisticated human brains, with all their complex reasoning abilities, might sometimes be influenced by ancient biological systems operating outside our awareness. Our bodies contain evolutionary wisdom accumulated over millions of years, silently guiding us toward choices that might benefit our potential offspring. But how exactly do we detect something as complex as genes do smell? The answer lies in one of science's strangest experiments, the sweaty t-shirt experiment. Imagine a group of scientists asking men to wear the same t-shirt for 2 consecutive nights while sleeping, with strict instructions not to use deodorant, cologne, or scented soap. This wasn't some strange fraternity ritual or an unusual punishment. It was a legitimate scientific experiment designed to uncover one of the most mysterious aspects of human attraction. In 1995, Swiss biologist Klaus Wittgen and his team set up this experiment to test whether humans, like many animals, use smell to evaluate the genetic compatibility of potential mates. The study, now famously known as the sweaty t-shirt experiment, recruited 49 women and 44 men from the University of Bern in Switzerland. The researchers selected participants with diverse variations of MHC genes to ensure they had a wide genetic spectrum to work with. The male participants received identical cotton t-shirts and specific instructions: wear this shirt for 2 nights while you sleep, and don't do anything that might alter your natural body odor. The experimental protocol was remarkably strict. Men had to avoid all scented products, odor-altering foods, substances like alcohol and tobacco, and even activities that could introduce external scents. They washed only with unscented soap provided by the researchers and avoided strongly scented environments throughout the test period. After 2 nights, each man returned his t-shirt to the lab, where it was placed in a small box with a hole in the top. The female participants arrived at the lab and were asked to smell each box and rate the odor inside based on intensity, pleasantness, and sexiness. Imagine walking into a scientific laboratory and being asked to sniff several boxes containing strangers' worn t-shirts, all in the name of science. The timing wasn't random either. The researchers scheduled women to participate during the 2nd week of their menstrual cycles, when their sense of smell is typically most sensitive and their fertility is highest. The women weren't given any information about the men whose shirts they were smelling. No photos, no personality profiles, nothing but the scent captured in the cotton fabric. Women's reactions to these t-shirts varied dramatically. Some shirts prompted immediate disgust responses. Women would wrinkle their noses, pull back, and rate the smell as unpleasant. Other shirts elicited more positive reactions. Women would take deeper sniffs, sometimes even smiling, and rate these scents as pleasant or even sexy. The same shirt that one woman found appealing might repulse another woman, suggesting these preferences weren't based on universally appealing scents, but something more individual. When Wedekind analyzed the results, he found something remarkable. The women consistently preferred to smell t-shirts worn by men whose MHC genes were different from their own. The more different the man's MHC genes were from the woman's, the more likely she was to rate his smell as pleasant and sexy. This pattern was clear and statistically significant. Many women reported that their preferred shirts reminded them of their boyfriends or ex-partners. Without realizing it, they were picking up on genetic signals similar to those that had attracted them to their actual romantic partners in real life. This suggested that the laboratory findings reflected actual mate choices these women had made outside the lab, providing compelling evidence that MHC-based scent preferences influence real-world attraction. The evolutionary logic behind this preference makes sense. By choosing mates with different MHC genes, women would produce children with more diverse immune systems, better equipped to fight a broader range of pathogens. This isn't a conscious strategy. Our biology has built this preference into our attraction systems, operating below our awareness. But the experiment revealed an unexpected twist that shocked the research team. When analyzing the data more closely, Wedekind discovered something that would challenge our understanding of modern contraception's effects on mate selection. Women who were taking oral contraceptives showed the opposite pattern of preference. Instead of being attracted to the scent of men with different MHC genes, women on the pill tended to prefer the smell of men with similar MHC genes to their own. Birth control pills, which contain hormones that mimic pregnancy, appear to reverse a basic biological preference that had evolved over millions of years. From an evolutionary perspective, this makes a certain kind of sense. When a woman is pregnant, seeking genetic diversity isn't as important as seeking safety and support from family members who would share similar MHC genes. The implications are significant. If hormonal contraceptives alter women's natural scent preferences, they might influence who women choose as partners. A woman might select a partner while on birth control, then discontinue the pill when trying to conceive, only to find herself less attracted to her partner's natural scent. Some researchers have suggested this might contribute to relationship dissatisfaction for some couples, though more research is needed to confirm this hypothesis. The sweaty t-shirt experiment has been replicated several times with generally similar results, though some studies have found more mixed outcomes. The effect seems strongest when testing women who aren't on hormonal contraceptives during the fertile phase of their cycle. This suggests our mate preferences may fluctuate throughout the month, prioritizing genetic compatibility when conception is most likely. Critics have pointed out limitations in the research design, including small sample sizes and the artificial laboratory setting. Some have questioned whether the observed preferences are strong enough to influence real-world mating decisions, where many other factors come into play. A meta-analysis of primate studies found that while humans do show preferences for MHC-diverse mates, the effect sizes are relatively small compared to other factors influencing attraction. Despite these limitations, the sweaty t-shirt experiment opened up a fascinating area of research into the hidden biological signals that influence attraction. It challenged the notion that our conscious minds are in complete control of our romantic preferences and highlighted the sophisticated evolutionary mechanisms operating beneath our awareness. But smell is just one piece of this biological puzzle. Your body has an entire network of attraction signals working behind the scenes. Your eyes betray your desires. Have you ever caught someone staring at you, only for them to quickly look away? That fleeting moment might reveal more about their feelings than any words could express. While we've explored how your nose can detect genetic compatibility, another powerful signal of attraction is happening right in front of your face, literally. Your eyes, specifically your pupils, are constantly broadcasting your interests and desires without your permission. When you look at someone you're attracted to, your pupils dilate, they grow larger. This isn't a subtle change either. Your pupils can expand up to 50% in size when viewing something or someone you find appealing. The fascinating part? You have absolutely no conscious control over this response. Unlike a smile you can fake or words you can carefully choose, pupil dilation happens automatically, triggered by your autonomic nervous system. This means that every time you look at someone you find attractive, your body sends a clear, unfiltered signal of your interest. No matter how composed your facial expression or how casual your conversation, your pupils reveal your genuine feelings. They function as honest messengers that cannot be persuaded to conceal the truth. This pupillary response occurs within milliseconds of seeing someone attractive. Your brain processes visual information, determines that you like what you see, and signals your pupils to expand before you've even had time to form a conscious thought about the person. By the time you're thinking, that person looks nice, your pupils have already broadcast your interest. Scientists have developed a framework called the adaptive game theory that helps explain these changes. This theory suggests that pupil size is linked to different behavioral states and engagement with our environment. When we're interested and engaged, our pupils tend to dilate. This helps our visual system gather more light and information about whatever has captured our attention, an evolutionary advantage when that something might be a potential mate. The pupil response works as part of your brain's exploration system. When you encounter something novel and interesting, like an attractive new person, your pupils dilate to help you take in more visual information. It's your body's way of saying, pay attention to this. It might be important. From an evolutionary perspective, finding a compatible mate certainly qualifies as important. What makes this even more interesting is that we unconsciously notice and respond to these pupil changes in others. Research shows that people tend to find faces with dilated pupils more attractive than the same faces with constricted pupils. In studies where participants were shown identical photos that were digitally altered to show different pupil sizes, the images with dilated pupils were consistently rated as more attractive and appealing. This creates a fascinating feedback loop in attraction. When you see someone you find attractive, your pupils dilate. They unconsciously notice your dilated pupils, which makes them find you more attractive. Their pupils then dilate in response, which you unconsciously register, intensifying your attraction to them. All of this happens without either person consciously recognizing what's taking place. Consider Sarah, who locked eyes with a stranger across a crowded cafe. Something held her gaze longer than usual, a magnetic pull she couldn't explain. Later, when they met, her friend mentioned noticing how both their pupils had expanded during that first exchange. This unconscious signal had communicated what neither could yet express in words, mutual interest that eventually blossomed into a relationship. Long before humans developed complex language, our ancestors might have used these visual cues to assess potential mates' interest levels. In a world without dating apps or pickup lines, these involuntary signals were crucial for determining if someone was worth pursuing. A quick glance with dilated pupils could communicate interest across a primitive gathering, giving early humans a way to identify receptive potential partners without risking rejection. Modern scientists can measure these changes with remarkable precision. Using specialized eye-tracking equipment, researchers can document exactly when and how much a person's pupils expand in response to different stimuli. These studies have shown that pupil dilation correlates strongly with self-reported attraction levels, essentially allowing scientists to quantify attraction. The accuracy of these measurements is impressive. In laboratory settings, researchers can predict with significant accuracy which faces participants find most attractive simply by measuring their pupillary responses, even when the participants themselves might not admit their attraction. Your pupils, like windows that flicker open to reveal hidden landscapes of desire, respond to what actually attracts you regardless of social conventions. Studies reveal cases where participants' conscious ratings don't match their pupillary responses. A person might claim they're not particularly attracted to someone, but their dilated pupils tell a different story. This disconnect between conscious evaluation and unconscious physical response highlights how much of our attraction happens below the surface of awareness. These pupil changes connect to deep brain structures involved in our most fundamental experiences. The dilation pathway involves regions like the hypothalamus and the locus coeruleus, areas integral to arousal and attention, the same regions activated when we experience reward and pleasure. Your pupillary response extends beyond visual attraction. Studies show that pupils also dilate when people listen to the voice of someone they find attractive, or even when they think about someone they desire. This suggests that pupil dilation indicates emotional and physical attraction across multiple sensory channels. Understanding this gives insight into why eye contact feels so intimate and powerful. When we lock eyes with someone we're attracted to, we participate in an unconscious exchange of biological signals, creating a conversation happening at a biological level that might reveal feelings you haven't acknowledged to yourself. While your eyes reveal attraction through these subtle pupillary dances, your voice transforms when you speak to someone who captivates you, another involuntary signal in the symphony of nonverbal communication that betrays your deepest feelings, the voice of attraction. Why do we often sound different when talking to someone we're attracted to? You might have noticed it in yourself or heard it in a friend's voice. That subtle shift in tone when speaking to someone they find particularly appealing. One moment they're talking normally, and the next, their voice transforms into slightly different. This isn't your imagination or coincidence, it's your biology at work. Your voice is one of your most flexible tools for communication, capable of conveying words, emotions, intentions, and attraction. When you encounter someone you find attractive, your voice undergoes subtle but measurable changes without any conscious decision to alter it. This phenomenon, called voice modulation, happens automatically as part of your body's attraction response system. These vocal shifts follow predictable patterns based on gender. Men typically lower their voices when speaking to women they find attractive. This deepening occurs in both pitch and timbre, creating a slightly more resonant sound. Women often do the opposite, increasing their vocal pitch when speaking to men they find attractive. Their voices become slightly higher, sometimes with more variation in tone, creating a sound perceived as more feminine and youthful. Consider what happens during an unexpected phone call. You answer without checking caller ID, speaking in your normal tone. Then you realize it's someone you're attracted to. In mid-conversation, your voice automatically adjusts, deeper if you're a man, higher if you're a woman, without any conscious effort on your part. These voice changes aren't deliberate attempts to sound more attractive. They happen automatically, triggered by the same brain systems that control other attraction responses like pupil dilation. Your brain registers attraction and your vocal cords respond without conscious input. The speed of these changes is remarkable. Research shows these vocal shifts happen within seconds of seeing an attractive person. Before you fully process your attraction consciously, your voice has already begun to transform. Scientists have recorded these changes by asking participants to speak before and after viewing images of attractive people. The shifts were immediate and measurable. Do these vocal signals actually work? Studies where participants listened to recordings of voices at different pitches found that women generally preferred men's voices at a lower pitch, while men typically preferred women's voices at a higher pitch. These preferences align perfectly with the natural voice modulations that occur during attraction. These vocal adaptations serve specific evolutionary purposes. A man's deeper voice signals higher testosterone levels associated with strength, dominance, and good health. When a man unconsciously lowers his voice, he's broadcasting information about his hormonal profile and potential fitness as a mate, a signal that says, "I am healthy and capable," without stating it explicitly. Similarly, a woman's higher pitch attraction voice conveys biological information associated with higher estrogen levels, youth, and fertility. By raising their pitch, women are unconsciously signaling reproductive fitness. These signals aren't necessarily accurate indicators of actual fertility or health in our modern world. They're evolutionary holdovers that once helped our ancestors identify suitable mates. The cross-cultural consistency of these vocal shifts indicates they have deep evolutionary roots rather than being products of social learning. Researchers have documented similar patterns of voice modulation in societies with vastly different cultural norms around dating and attraction. Even more compelling is research showing that people can identify attraction voice in recordings with surprising accuracy. In these studies, participants recorded their voices speaking to both attractive and unattractive individuals. Later, when others listened to only the voice recordings without seeing the targets of the speech, they could correctly identify which recordings were directed at people the speaker found attractive. Your attraction voice essentially broadcasts your interest to everyone around you, not just the person you're speaking to. Friends might notice these subtle shifts before you've even admitted your attraction to yourself. These vocal signals can create feedback loops. When you speak to someone in your attraction voice, they might unconsciously recognize your interest, potentially increasing their attraction to you. Their voice might then shift in response, signaling reciprocal interest. This creates a nonverbal conversation running parallel to your spoken words. The evolution of these vocal signals makes sense considering that for most of human history, people didn't have explicit ways to express romantic interest. Subtle biological signals allowed our ancestors to test the waters without risking outright rejection. A slightly deeper or higher voice served as a low-risk way to signal interest and gauge reciprocity. In our modern world of text messages and online dating, these vocal cues continue to play an important role in face-to-face interactions. Your voice provides information about your level of attraction that written words cannot convey. Understanding these vocal shifts explains why phone calls can feel more intimate than text conversations and why in-person meetings remain the gold standard for determining chemistry. Your voice, with all its modulations, communicates aspects of attraction that even the most carefully crafted message cannot. The next time you notice your voice changing when speaking to someone you find attractive, remember that this isn't something to be embarrassed about. It's your biology operating as designed, sending signals that humans have used for thousands of generations. The synchronization between potential partners goes far beyond voice changes. Have you noticed how you sometimes mirror the movements of someone you're talking to? Maybe you take a sip of your coffee right after they do, or you find yourself crossing your arms moments after they cross theirs. This unconscious mimicry isn't just a social quirk. It's part of a fascinating biological phenomenon that happens when two people feel attracted to each other. Beyond the visible mirroring of movements, something even more remarkable happens beneath the surface. Our bodies actually synchronize on a physiological level with people we're attracted to, creating a literal physical connection that operates without our awareness. Scientists call this physiological synchronization, and it reveals another layer of our body's secret communication system. When two people experience mutual attraction, their bodies begin to align in ways that go far beyond conscious control. Their heart rates might synchronize, their breathing patterns could match, and even their brain activity can fall into similar patterns. This bodily alignment happens automatically, orchestrated by primitive brain systems that evolved long before human consciousness. Heart rate synchronization is one of the most well-documented forms of this phenomenon. When two people who feel attracted to each other interact, their heart rates often begin to match within minutes. In laboratory studies, researchers have attached heart monitors to participants meeting for the first time. They discovered that when mutual attraction occurs, hearts beat in similar patterns, speeding up and slowing down at the same moments. Imagine sitting across from someone at a cafe engaged in conversation. As you lock eyes while reaching for your drinks, you might feel a flutter in your chest. In that moment, your hearts could be beating as one, creating an invisible bond neither of you consciously perceives, yet both bodies recognize. This cardiac synchronization doesn't require physical touch or close proximity. Simply conversing is enough to trigger this alignment. Your heart creates a shared rhythm that neither of you consciously controls. Sometimes within the first few minutes of interaction, your breathing patterns also align with people you're attracted to. As you talk with someone appealing, you unconsciously match the pace and depth of their breathing. This respiratory synchronization typically happens without either person noticing it. It occurs naturally as part of your body's attraction response, especially during moments of mutual gaze when looking into each other's eyes. What makes these synchronization patterns particularly interesting is that they persist over time. Couples in long-term relationships often develop deeply synchronized biological rhythms. Their sleep-wake cycles align, their hormone levels rise and fall in similar patterns, and their nervous systems become attuned to each other's states. Partners who have been together for years show remarkable physiological alignment. Their cortisol levels tend to rise and fall together throughout the day. Their immune system may even show coordinated responses. Their bodies operate as a connected system rather than completely separate entities. Physical proximity strengthens these synchronization effects. The closer you are to someone physically, the stronger the synchronization tends to be. This is partly because proximity gives your body access to more biological signals from the other person. You detect their scent better, see subtle facial expressions more clearly, and pick up on tiny changes in their body language. The proximity effect explains why online dating feels so different from meeting someone in person. No matter how many messages or video calls you share, your bodies can't fully engage in the unconscious synchronization processes that contribute to feelings of chemistry. It's only when you meet face to face that these biological systems have the opportunity to align. Touch amplifies synchronization even further. When you hold hands with someone, the physical connection creates additional pathways for your bodies to share information. Skin-to-skin contact triggers the release of hormones like oxytocin that facilitate bonding. This is why a simple touch from someone you're attracted to can feel electric. It activates multiple biological systems simultaneously. Researchers believe this synchronization serves important evolutionary functions. For our ancestors, physical synchronization could have helped identify compatible mates and facilitated bonding. When two people's bodies easily fall into rhythm with each other, it might signal biological compatibility that goes beyond conscious assessment. These processes also create feelings of connection and understanding. When your physiological systems align with someone else's, you're more likely to experience emotional resonance, the sense that you truly understand what the other person is feeling. This shared state creates empathy and connection that strengthens social bonds. The ease with which your body synchronizes with someone else's might indicate your potential for connection. Some researchers suggest that this physiological compatibility could predict relationship satisfaction and longevity better than shared interests or values alone. Multiple systems drive these synchronization processes. Your sensory organs collect information about the other person, their expressions, voice patterns, movements, and scent. Your brain processes this information, much of it subconsciously, and adjusts your physiological state accordingly. Mirror neurons play a key role in this process. These specialized brain cells activate both when you perform an action and when you observe someone else performing that same action. They create a neural foundation for understanding others through internal simulation. When attraction is present, this mirroring system becomes more active, strengthening physiological alignment. The autonomic nervous system coordinates many of these synchronization processes. When interacting with someone you're attracted to, this system shifts into a receptive state. Your parasympathetic branch activates, creating openness to the other person. This synchronization creates a physical foundation for emotional connection. When your heart beats in rhythm with someone else's and your breathing aligns, you experience a resonance that transcends words. Your bodies are literally on the same wavelength, creating a biological basis for chemistry and connection. These physical signals are just the messengers, carrying information between two attracted individuals. Behind this intricate dance of synchronization lies a complex chemical orchestra directing the show, neurochemicals that will reveal even deeper insights into attraction's powerful pull. The chemical cocktail of attraction. What if I told you that falling for someone is basically a carefully timed drug release in your brain? That magnetic pull you feel towards certain people. The racing heart, sweaty palms, and inability to think straight isn't just poetic romance. It's chemistry. Literal chemistry. Your brain, that 3-pound organ that makes you who you are, becomes a pharmaceutical factory when you're attracted to someone, releasing powerful chemicals that create feelings as real as any external substance could produce. When you encounter someone who triggers your attraction systems, your brain springs into action, coordinating a complex cascade of neurochemicals that create the distinct feeling we recognize as attraction. This isn't a single emotion, but rather a symphony of different sensations, each powered by specific chemicals working in precise sequences. The neurochemical basis of attraction involves several key players working together to create that unmistakable feeling of being drawn to someone. These chemicals are part of carefully evolved systems designed to motivate us toward behaviors that, from an evolutionary perspective, enhance our chances of reproducing and passing on our genes. The pleasure they create serves a biological purpose. It ensures we pursue activities that benefit our genetic legacy. Hashtag the chemical architects of attraction. Dopamine, the reward signal. At the center of this chemical cocktail is dopamine, the fire behind the fireworks. This neurotransmitter drives your brain's reward system when you see someone attractive. It creates feelings of pleasure while focusing your attention like a laser beam. Everything about the person becomes fascinating. Their voice, interests, even mundane gestures seem captivating. Dopamine essentially flags this person as important in your brain's priority system, which explains why you notice them immediately when they enter a room. Norepinephrine, the physical response. Working alongside dopamine is norepinephrine, which produces those unmistakable physical sensations. This chemical, produced by your adrenal glands, creates the racing heart, nervous excitement, and energy surge you feel. Part of your fight or flight response. In attraction, it generates that electrically charged mixture of excitement and nervousness. Together, these chemicals create what we experience as attraction, like a perfectly timed fireworks display where each explosion triggers the next, building in intensity and color. The cascade explains why new attraction feels so energizing, why you need less sleep, and why hours with this person pass like minutes. Testosterone, the desire driver. Testosterone fuels the initial spark of lust in both men and women. Despite its reputation as a male hormone, women produce it too, just in smaller amounts. Fluctuations affect sexual desire regardless of gender. When triggered by dopamine, testosterone creates a positive feedback loop of desire and reward that intensifies the attraction experience. Hashtag attraction and addiction, surprising parallels. What's particularly interesting about this chemical cascade is how it mirrors addiction patterns. Brain imaging research reveals that when people in early attraction view pictures of their love interest, reward centers activate in patterns nearly identical to drug cravings. A 2005 study at Rutgers University found that the same brain regions that light up during cocaine use also activate during early romantic attraction. This similarity helps explain why attraction can feel somewhat obsessive, checking your phone constantly for messages or creating situations to accidentally encounter someone. Your brain actively seeks its next chemical reward, motivating the sometimes extreme behaviors associated with intense attraction. By evolutionary design, this system is temporary. If your brain maintained these high dopamine and norepinephrine levels permanently, you'd never accomplish anything else. After several months of consistent exposure to the same person, these chemicals typically stabilize, allowing relationships to potentially transition to deeper bonds. Hashtag the evolutionary purpose. This chemical cocktail evolved for clear reasons. The excitement, energy, and focused attention motivate us to pursue potential mates with enthusiasm and persistence. From an evolutionary perspective, attraction's intensity serves several functions. It motivates us to overcome obstacles in pursuing a mate. It focuses attention on one person at a time, increasing mating success. It creates memorable experiences that bond us to that person. The timing of these chemical releases follows a pattern. The early attraction phase typically lasts from a few months to about 2 years, enough time to find a mate, form a bond, and potentially conceive offspring. This biological timeline facilitates reproduction while allowing for new mate finding if necessary. Understanding attraction's chemistry doesn't diminish its meaning or magic. Just as knowing that a sunset results from atmospheric light scattering doesn't reduce its beauty, recognizing the sophisticated biological systems behind attraction gives us more reason to marvel at our design. What happens after this initial chemical rush is equally fascinating. As the intense early attraction chemicals begin to stabilize, the brain has another set of chemicals ready to deploy, ones that can transform a passionate attraction into something deeper and more enduring. The excitement of dopamine and norepinephrine is just the first act in a longer chemical narrative. But there's one chemical that transforms simple attraction into something much deeper. Oxytocin, the bond builder. Why do some attractions fade quickly while others turn to lasting bonds? You've probably experienced both scenarios, the intense chemistry that burns out after a few weeks and the slow building connection that deepens into something that lasts for years. The difference often comes down to a single powerful chemical in your brain, oxytocin. While dopamine and norepinephrine create the exciting rush of initial attraction, oxytocin works like relationship superglue, transforming early sparks into something enduring. Scientists call oxytocin the love hormone or cuddle chemical because of its crucial role in bonding. Imagine that feeling when someone you care about wraps you in a long, warm embrace after a difficult day. The way your muscles relax, your worries momentarily fade, and you feel profoundly connected. That's oxytocin at work. Without it, we might experience intense attraction but struggle to form deeper connections that lead to lasting relationships. Unlike the chemicals of initial attraction that create excitement and urgency, oxytocin produces feelings of calm, security, and attachment. It's a chemical that makes you want to cuddle after sex rather than leave immediately. It creates that comfortable feeling of trust that allows you to be vulnerable with another person. Dopamine provides the thrilling first chapters of attraction, while oxytocin writes the rest of your relationship story. Oxytocin creates feelings of connection beyond physical attraction. Under its influence, you begin to care about a person's well-being, not just how they make you feel. You see them as part of your world, someone worth investing in emotionally. This transition from self-centered attraction to mutual care marks the beginning of deeper bonding. Your body releases oxytocin during specific types of interactions. Physical touch is perhaps the most powerful trigger. Hugging, cuddling, holding hands, and sexual intimacy all flood your brain with this bonding chemical. This explains why physical affection is so important in building relationship ties. Even simple touches like a hand on the shoulder or sitting close together can trigger oxytocin release. Eye contact provides another powerful oxytocin trigger. When you gaze into someone's eyes, particularly someone you're attracted to, your brain responds by releasing oxytocin. Those meaningful looks across the table are actually changing your brain chemistry in ways that promote bonding. Studies show that even just a few seconds of direct eye contact can increase oxytocin levels and feelings of connection. Intimate conversation also stimulates oxytocin production. When you share personal stories, express vulnerability, or engage in deep discussions about your hopes and fears, your brain rewards this trust-building behavior with oxytocin. This chemical response explains why meaningful conversations often leave you feeling closer to someone. The oxytocin system creates what scientists call a positive feedback loop. The more you engage in bonding behaviors like touching, gazing, and intimate conversation, the more oxytocin your brain releases. This increased oxytocin makes these bonding activities feel even more rewarding, which motivates you to engage in them more frequently. Each cycle strengthens the bond between you and your partner. What makes oxytocin particularly powerful is its durability. While dopamine and norepinephrine tend to decrease with familiarity, oxytocin can continue to strengthen over time with repeated positive interactions. This helps explain why long-term couples can maintain strong bonds years or even decades into their relationships. Each positive interaction contributes to the oxytocin reserve that sustains their connection. Research suggests that oxytocin changes how you perceive your partner. Under its influence, you're more likely to notice positive expressions and emotions while downplaying negative ones. This perceptual change extends to how you interpret your partner's behaviors and intentions. When oxytocin levels are high, you're more likely to give your partner the benefit of the doubt, helping protect the relationship from minor misunderstandings. The oxytocin system works differently in different people. Some individuals naturally produce more oxytocin or have more receptors for it, making them more predisposed to form strong attachments. Early life experiences, particularly how you were cared for as an infant, can influence how your oxytocin system develops. This helps explain why some people find it easier to form deep bonds while others might struggle with intimacy. The power of oxytocin extends beyond romantic relationships to bonds between parents and children, between friends, and even between humans and their pets. Whenever we feel that sense of warm connection to another being, oxytocin is likely involved. It's a fundamental part of how humans connect with each other. Understanding the role of oxytocin can help you make better choices about how you invest your time and energy with a partner. Simple activities like holding hands while watching TV or sharing physical affection throughout the day aren't just pleasant, they're biologically significant actions that strengthen your bond. For couples facing challenges, knowledge of the oxytocin system offers practical strategies. When connection feels weak, deliberately increasing bonding behaviors can help rebuild the chemical foundation of attachment. Something as simple as a 20-second hug can trigger significant oxytocin release, potentially shifting the emotional tone of an interaction. Oxytocin serves as the bridge between initial attraction and long-term bonding. While dopamine and norepinephrine get relationships started, oxytocin helps them endure. It transforms "I want you" into "I care about you," creating the foundation for deeper commitment. The presence of oxytocin doesn't guarantee relationship success. Compatible values, effective communication, and shared goals remain essential. But the chemical foundation provided by oxytocin creates the emotional conditions that make working through challenges worthwhile. Now that we understand the individual signals, let's see how this entire system works together, the attraction network in action. What happens when all these biological signals fire at once? We've examined each component of attraction individually: the immune system detection, pupil changes, voice modulation, physiological synchronization, and chemical responses. But in reality, these systems don't operate in isolation. They work together as an integrated network, creating something far more powerful than any single signal could produce on its own. Think of attraction as a symphony where multiple instruments play simultaneously. When you meet someone new, your body checks their MHC compatibility, notices their dilated pupils, and responds to their voice all at once. All these processes activate concurrently, creating a complex web of signals that your brain processes as a unified experience, what we simply call attraction or chemistry. This integrated approach explains why attraction can feel so overwhelming. When multiple biological systems simultaneously broadcast the same message, "This person is compatible," the combined effect becomes much stronger than any single signal. The richness and impact multiply dramatically, like the difference between hearing a solo violin and experiencing a full orchestra performing the same piece. The cascade typically begins with one system triggering others. That initial MHC-based attraction detected through scent might start the process. When you encounter someone with compatible immune genes, your olfactory system registers this compatibility even without conscious awareness. This positive signal primes your brain to pay more attention, making you more likely to notice other attractive qualities. Once your attention focuses, other systems activate in concert. Your pupils dilate as you look at this person, signaling interest. They unconsciously notice this change, finding you more attractive in return. Their pupils then dilate in response, which you subconsciously register, further increasing attraction. This creates a visual feedback loop that intensifies with each exchange. As conversation begins, your voice automatically modulates to signal interest, deepening for men or rising slightly for women. The other person, already primed by previous signals, responds positively to these vocal cues, adjusting their own voice in return, creating another layer of signaling that reinforces the growing attraction. Simultaneously, your bodies begin synchronizing. Breathing patterns align. Heart rates fall into similar rhythms. These physiological adjustments create a sense of resonance, a feeling of being in sync. This physical harmony reinforces the chemical processes already underway in your brain, forming a biological bridge between physical and emotional connection. Throughout this exchange, your brain releases its attraction chemicals, dopamine creating excitement, norepinephrine generating those butterfly feelings, and potentially oxytocin building the foundation for bonding. These neurochemicals make you more attuned to the other person's signals, increasing sensitivity to positive cues while potentially downplaying negative ones. This chemical enhancement creates a feedback loop where positive signals become more noticeable, further increasing attraction. This network is so interconnected that disruption in one system affects the entire attraction experience. Studies show that when one signal is blocked or altered, the overall response diminishes significantly. For example, when people can't detect scent cues due to a cold or meeting online, they report less intense attraction even when visual and auditory signals remain positive. Each signal amplifies the others, creating a harmonious whole that exceeds the sum of its parts. The integrated nature of this system has important implications for how we meet potential partners. Online dating removes many biological signals from initial attraction stages. You can't smell MHC compatibility through a dating app, detect subtle pupil changes, or experience physiological synchronization through text messages. This explains why online chemistry doesn't always translate to in-person attraction. Critical pieces of the biological puzzle are missing. This realization has led researchers to suggest that the most accurate way to assess attraction is through in-person meetings in context allowing multiple signals to operate. Speed dating events activate more of these systems than online profiles. Activities involving movement and proximity, like dance classes or active dates, enable the physiological synchronization processes that screens cannot facilitate. The attraction network's complexity helps explain why attraction sometimes feels mysterious or unpredictable. With so many systems operating simultaneously, often below conscious awareness, we sometimes can't articulate exactly why we're drawn to certain people. Our conscious mind only registers the end result, I feel attracted to this person, without access to all the biological calculations happening beneath the surface. This complex system didn't evolve by accident. Finding a compatible mate is perhaps the most important task from an evolutionary perspective. It determines whether your genes continue. The stakes are too high to rely on a single signal that could be misinterpreted or manipulated. Instead, evolution developed this redundant, multi-channel communication system where multiple signals must align to create strong attraction. The beauty of this system is that it helps us find partners who are compatible in ways we couldn't consciously assess. Before modern medicine and genetic testing, humans had no way to consciously evaluate immune system compatibility or hormonal health. Yet these factors significantly impact reproductive success and offspring health. The attraction network evolved as a sophisticated biological matchmaking service operating beneath conscious awareness. But if biology has so much control, who's really in control? Our free will and relationships? Are we just puppets of our biology, or do we have a say in who we're attracted to? After exploring the complex biological systems that influence attraction, you might wonder if your relationship choices are truly your own. Does free will exist in attraction, or are we simply following biological programming without realizing it? This question creates a fascinating tension between two perspectives. On one side, biological determinism suggests that our attractions are predetermined by evolutionary mechanisms beyond our control. This view proposes that when you feel that spark with someone, your genes are selecting a biologically compatible mate. Your MHC genes, hormone levels, and neurochemistry are the real decision makers in your love life. Conversely, the conscious choice perspective emphasizes that humans select partners based on rational criteria like shared values, personality compatibility, and common goals. This view highlights our evolved cognitive abilities that allow us to override instinctual impulses and make decisions based on higher-order thinking. We routinely make relationship choices that seem to contradict pure biological imperatives. The reality exists somewhere between these extremes. Our biology creates certain predispositions and initial attractions, while our conscious minds evaluate, filter, and sometimes override these biological nudges. Consider the partnership between unconscious biological systems and conscious reasoning. Biology presents candidates for attraction, but your conscious mind has veto power over which attractions you pursue. This interplay becomes evident in everyday scenarios. Take Sarah, who felt intense chemistry with a charismatic colleague whose pheromones and facial symmetry triggered her biological attraction systems. Despite this powerful draw, she recognized fundamental differences in their values and life goals. Her conscious evaluation ultimately led her to pursue a relationship with someone else who shared her aspirations, despite a less immediate biological spark. Their connection deepened over time, demonstrating how conscious choice can sometimes redirect or even override biological impulses. Cultural influences significantly shape our attraction patterns in several ways. First, societal beauty standards determine what physical traits we consciously value. Different cultures prize various body types, features, and presentation styles that interact with our biological predispositions. Second, cultural values promote specific personality traits in potential partners. Some societies value assertiveness while others prize modesty or community-mindedness. Third, your personal upbringing creates templates for relationships. Childhood experiences form attachment styles that influence adult attractions. These learned preferences interact with biological factors to create your unique attraction profile. Together, these cultural and developmental factors create a filtering system that works alongside biological responses. Someone might be biologically compatible with you, but if they trigger negative associations from past experiences, your conscious mind might reject the attraction. Being aware of these biological systems actually increases your agency rather than diminishes it. By recognizing when biology influences your attractions, you gain the ability to evaluate whether those attractions align with your conscious goals. You can ask yourself, is this attraction based on something that will lead to long-term compatibility, or is it primarily a biological response that might not serve my broader relationship goals? Research indicates that attraction can develop without initial biological signals firing. Many successful relationships begin without immediate chemistry. Feelings grow gradually through shared experiences, mutual respect, and emotional intimacy. Studies of arranged marriages show couples often develop deep bonds despite not choosing each other based on biological attraction. This demonstrates how conscious compatibility can sometimes create attraction rather than simply following it. Understanding attraction's biological basis provides insight into patterns you might otherwise find mysterious. Have you noticed being repeatedly drawn to certain types of people who aren't good for you? This might reflect a mismatch between biological attraction systems and conscious relationship goals. Awareness gives you the opportunity to recognize and potentially redirect these patterns. This knowledge also helps explain why attraction sometimes feels random. When biological signals operate below conscious awareness, the resulting feelings can seem to come from nowhere. Understanding these specific biological triggers doesn't make these feelings less real, just less mysterious. The evidence suggests a middle path. Biology creates initial attractions, but lasting relationships require compatibility beyond genes. Your MHC genes might draw you towards someone with a complementary immune system, but building a successful relationship requires shared values, communication skills, and compatible life goals. This perspective acknowledges the power of biological attraction while affirming your ability to evaluate these impulses based on higher-order considerations. You exist in the fascinating space between, where biology and consciousness interact to create your unique experience of attraction and love. The most fulfilling approach honors both systems. Pay attention to biological signals. They contain evolutionary wisdom accumulated over millennia. But engage your conscious mind to evaluate whether attractions align with your values and goals. Biology might create the initial spark, but conscious choices determine whether that spark ignites a lasting fire. Have you ever felt torn between powerful chemistry and the knowledge that someone wasn't right for you? How did you navigate that tension between biological impulse and conscious evaluation? So what does all this mean for your dating life? Let's bring it all together. Hacking your attraction code. What if you could use all this biological knowledge to find better matches? Imagine having a guidebook to your own attraction systems, understanding exactly why certain people make your heart race while others leave you cold. The Science of Attraction offers practical tools that might help you make better relationship choices. Before exploring these possibilities, we must address ethical considerations. Is it right to use scientific knowledge to influence attraction? The line between awareness and manipulation requires careful respect. Using this knowledge responsibly means understanding these mechanisms without exploiting them in ways that undermine genuine connection. Dating apps have revolutionized how we meet partners, but they removed many biological signals from the equation. When swiping through profiles, decisions rely almost entirely on visual information and self-reported details. The compatibility of immune systems through MHC, subtle pupil changes signaling interest, and voice modulations that naturally occur during attraction, all these biological cues remain inaccessible through screens. This absence explains why many people feel disappointed when meeting online matches in person. Despite great text conversations, the expected chemistry sometimes vanishes upon meeting. Neither person was necessarily dishonest. Your biological attraction system simply lacked the opportunity to evaluate compatibility until that face-to-face encounter. Online dating still provides valuable connections with people you might never otherwise meet. However, understanding attraction biology suggests moving to in-person meetings relatively quickly rather than extensive messaging periods. That coffee date or video call allows your biology to assess compatibility in ways profiles cannot. Certain environments naturally enhance attraction signals. Dancing creates perfect conditions for multiple attraction systems to activate simultaneously. The physical proximity allows for scent detection. The synchronized movement potentially triggers physiological alignment that strengthens attraction. Music activates emotional centers, creating shared experiences that enhance bonding. Active dates generally offer similar advantages. Hiking, cooking classes, and escape rooms create natural opportunities for physiological synchronization and trigger adrenaline and dopamine release, intensifying attraction. These activities provide context for touch, eye contact, and behaviors that stimulate oxytocin and bonding. Awareness of your biological responses offers valuable insight. By noticing who makes your pupils dilate, whose voice captivates you, or who smells inexplicably good to you, you access information your conscious mind might miss. These subtle signals could indicate compatibility beyond your conscious checklist of desired qualities. This awareness proves particularly helpful if you've experienced unsuccessful relationship patterns. Perhaps you've chosen partners based on certain qualities while ignoring biological signals indicating deeper compatibility. Tuning into both conscious preferences and biological responses might identify partners satisfying both systems. There are limitations to outsmarting evolutionary systems. These biological mechanisms evolved over millions of years to solve complex adaptive problems and contain wisdom not easily hacked. Attempts to manipulate attraction, whether through synthetic pheromones or calculated behaviors, often fail because these systems are too sophisticated for simple interventions. The future of attraction research holds both promise and concern. Scientists are developing increasingly sophisticated ways to understand the biological basis of attraction. Some companies are already experimenting with matching people based on genetic compatibility or using artificial intelligence to predict attraction patterns. Future dating services might incorporate biological compatibility alongside traditional matching criteria. We may eventually see services that match immunologically compatible partners based on genetic information. Technology might better simulate in-person interaction through virtual reality, giving biological systems more information before physical meetings. While these innovations can help people find compatible partners, they raise important questions about privacy and the commodification of intimacy. Research indicates the most effective approach combines biological awareness with conscious compatibility assessment. Your biology contains evolutionary wisdom about good partners from a genetic perspective. Your conscious mind contributes valuable information about compatibility in values, goals, and character. When these systems align, when you feel both the biological spark and conscious recognition of compatibility, you have the strongest foundation for a relationship. This balanced approach respects both evolutionary wisdom and human capacity for conscious choice. It acknowledges we are biological beings shaped by evolution and conscious individuals with values that transcend pure biological imperatives. Using this knowledge responsibly means becoming attuned to your biological responses while applying conscious judgment to relationship choices. It means creating opportunities for biological assessment through in-person meetings and activities that activate multiple attraction systems. And it means recognizing when biological attraction might pull you towards someone misaligned with your conscious values. The science of attraction doesn't provide a simple formula for finding the perfect partner. Human relationships remain wonderfully complex, influenced by countless factors beyond what we've discussed. But understanding the biological foundation adds a valuable tool to your relationship toolkit, another lens through which to view connections with others. These biological systems aren't abstract scientific concepts. They're part of what makes us human. They connect us to our evolutionary past while shaping our present experiences of love and attraction. The next time you feel that unexplainable pull towards someone, remember that your body is running complex calculations you're not even aware of. Your nose is detecting immune system compatibility. Your pupils are responding to their appearance, and your brain is releasing chemicals that create that magical feeling of attraction. Your attraction patterns emerge from millions of years of evolution, a system designed to help you find genetically compatible partners perfected through countless generations. Understanding these hidden signals gives you insight into both your dating choices and your humanity. We exist at the fascinating intersection of ancient biological wisdom and modern conscious choice. Isn't it remarkable how science explains the magic without diminishing it?